The Trader Cobb Crypto Show, talking business in blockchain.
G'day guys, welcome to the Trader Cobb Crypto Show. I'm here in Melbourne at the Blockchain Centre, interviewing a bunch of great projects and different bits and pieces. And today, I've got with us Adrian Harrison of Huobi Australia. Thank you so much for being here on the show, mate. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Craig. Thanks for your time.
Mate, look, first things first, let's kick off by, I'd like to know more about you. Tell the people at home, the good people, about who you are and what Huobi Australia is and what you're basically trying to bring to the space. Just give us a bit of an intro.
Sure, absolutely. So my background has been more in traditional financial services. So that's been initially private wealth management, moving through to asset management and hedge funds, and I've also spent time in equity markets businesses, so with major banks. Spent best part of 20 years up in Asia, so China, Hong Kong, Singapore, and I'm really happy to be back in Australia now. Came back 3 years ago. So that's my professional background. I think something sort of significant happened about a year ago. I made a pivot towards blockchain, and I joined. I could see sort of the writing on the wall in terms of where traditional financial services companies were going and the pressure that they're going to come under with technology, particularly blockchain. So I joined a UK listed company that was solving for issues in back office for capital markets. And we're putting those
makes sense.
Fintech solutions, cloud-based solutions, on a blockchain. So that was a very substantial company. It's subsequently been bought by Chicago Mercantile Exchange for about $6 billion US. But at the time that was happening, I got the opportunity. Huobi approached me and said, "We're looking to set up in Australia. Why don't you come and be our CEO?" So here I am, and fabulous moving into the very dynamic world of crypto and blockchain.
Well, look, I mean, we've all had a rabbit hole, right? We've all wandered into the space somehow. Interesting story. Look, I spent 12 years trading traditional, or 11 years, let's say, trading traditional markets. I've been in those rooms. I've done a lot of stuff for ICE, for New York Stock Exchange, all different platforms. So we've sort of been there, done that. I'm in a different sense to you. You were sort of at the boardroom. I was bringing the content to the boardroom, but what I've noticed, and I want you to comment on this, is just how collaborative this space is. And I suppose it's because it is so new. It's very much easier, like for me right now, to be sitting here speaking with the CEO of Huobi in Australia. I'm not able to do that as quickly and easily with, say, the head of one of the other platforms that are out there in traditional markets. And I think it's a wonderful place that we're able to get together, help each other, and communicate. Have you found it just being so collaborative as well, or have you run into some issues along the way?
I find it extremely collaborative, but I think that's sort of probably as a result of it just being such a new industry. We're all facing similar issues. When I say all blockchain, crypto exchanges, etc., all coming up against the same issues and needing to work together. So, organisations such as Blockchain Centre, of which we're a major sponsor, are helping bring the community together and solve for some of these issues and support each other. Other organisations such as the Australian Digital Commerce, ADCA, exactly, are bringing and solving some of these issues and representing the industry as one voice to regulators. So it's very collaborative in that sense, and even some of our competitors have given some great advice on how to set up in Australia, which is very well appreciated, and we reciprocate.
Well, you said it, there's a community. There's a community spirit, a community feeling. We are more powerful together than we are fighting. I can tell you now, there was never that wonderful spirit. There wasn't a trading community in Wall Street. There's just, it just is what it is. So let's go into Huobi a little bit further. You've been here in Australia, for not very long. When did you start, and how are things going to this point?
Sure. So I came on board sort of at the end of May. We launched. I had a launch date of 5th of July imposed upon me, and we went really hard. I had a great launch party here in Melbourne. About 450 people came along, got some fabulous traction. So that was great. We have the team is set up. We're about 12 people now, so quite a substantial team. We've hit a very strong and smooth operating rhythm.
Great.
The platform is all set up now. Effectively, what we're doing is we have an interface into the global, into our the back office or the technology, the engine room technology. So we're using this best of breed, world class, best in class security, and allowing Australian investors to come through an Australian interface. And we have the fiat on ramps, or you can, we have a bank account in which folks can, or investors can deposit money into. So that's what we've got. So far, so good, except for the market.
Yeah, there is that old chestnut.
The market is quite appalling at the moment.
Challenging.
Thank you. It is very tough at the moment. I will say, in all honesty, it's even more challenging for a new entrant into the market.
Sure.
So if you're sitting there with 50,000 users or 100,000 users, the case may be, a lot of those guys and girls will be dormant.
Yeah.
But there's things you can do to try.
But you had the on-ramp on.
There.
You've already done well.
That's right. So trying to attract some of these users to come across from an existing exchange to us, there's the big challenge. So we've eked out a few market percent in a couple of months. We've got big plans going forward, and I can talk about that in more detail if you'd like.
Well, we will. I mean, this is what I like. So for the bear market that we are in, more or less right now, it's been a pretty tough year. It's been a different year to 2017. There was two massive moves in 2017. One sort of May, June, around that period, the old pump. We saw Bitcoin go through $1,000. Now, I wasn't in it at that stage.
Right.
I've been in for just over 12 months now, and then there was the next one running through December. I was very much a part of that and did very well from that. It was wonderful. But I've got the saying, even a turkey can fly in a hurricane. The hurricane has passed. Now, I'm sure there's one brewing. I'm sure there's one brewing. That's why I've put everything into this space, right?
Sure.
We're in the same boat in that respect. What I like about this bear market is that projects can focus on delivery.
Right.
Projects can focus on the project. They're not trying to clamber onto something that's taking off and they can't keep up with it. Now is a development stage. It's harder to raise.
Sure.
It's harder to build a business, which means the cream rises to the top, which means us, the consumer, get more options, better options. Now that's hard for you, but it's great for us. What are some of the things that Huobi Australia are doing to benefit the client base? I mean, you've got the platform here, you're speaking to the people that are using or looking to your direct clients. Why would they work with or open an account with Huobi Australia?
I suppose there's a couple of ways we could think about that. We are a registered exchange in Australia with AUSTRAC, as are our local competitors here, as opposed to some of the international exchanges that don't have a local presence and are not registered. So investors can make their own choice there as to whether they want that to come with a registered exchange in Australia. Now, if you've made that decision and that's important for you, and you get that extra sense of security that comes out of that, then amongst the local competitors, we are the only international exchange that is locally registered. So the others we have some very strong competitors in Australia. They're all local. What I would say is one of the big value adds is that the security of the wallets. As I said earlier, best in class. No one in the local market here will be able to compete with that security and the trading platform experience. So that's that. That's what we do have. What we don't have, let me talk about that and what we're going to do about that. We have currently 10 Australian dollar token trading pairs. So
in fiat, out of fiat.
That's right. Yeah. So we have 10 pairs at the moment. We are looking to add more pairs, and we're right in the middle of that at the moment. So we're looking to list. Part of our sponsorship of the Blockchain Centre is in line with our desire to support the local community.
Great.
So what we've done earlier this month was we asked people to give a shout out for their projects, their local projects, to say, we want our coin listed on Huobi. So that process has gone through. We've subsequently invited 5 projects to apply for the listing, for a listing on our exchange, and we're doing due diligence on that at the moment. And That is now being overlaid by head office, who have their own say on that, and they've got a lot of experience with 300 trading pairs listed globally. So we will make a decision in the coming weeks on a coin or two, and we subsequently will roll out more coins. So we have 10 existing fiat pairs. We've got more coming, particularly local coins. What else are we going to do? We're going to plug into, very importantly, Huobi Global's global liquidity.
Okay, that was one thing I wanted to get to, and sorry to cut you off because we'll go through the rest of it. Right? So my question is around the liquidity.
Right.
I'm a trader. I'm an investor. You know, I will still put trades out that require no leverage because I can't get leverage, right? If there's a certain pair I want to be trading and then the leverage doesn't exist, well then I've got one choice, and that's to build my Ether stack and my Bitcoin stack, and that's basically that. Or if it goes to fiat, I can do it that way as well, just pull in and pull out. The liquidity is an issue, and that's why a lot of platforms don't have leveraged or margined products.
Right.
If I'm going to go in and I want to buy $100,000 worth of, you know, Horizon State token as an example, you've got to have the liquidity, and I want it to be at that price.
Sure.
It can be difficult to get it if you're trading with an exchange that doesn't have that liquidity. So you're saying Huobi Australia, as it is quite small, we're a small country, you have brought it to our attention that it's more difficult gaining memberships and accounts now. So therefore, your struggle will be with liquidity domestically. But you're plugging into the international liquidity feed as well. So you don't have that issue, is that right?
Well, with our local Australian dollar pairs,
of course,
we will. And we're looking to build those, and you know, you're looking for high volume traders to come on, incentivize. So over time that will grow, and I think you'll find with the liquidity on that, once you get some momentum, you then attract success, breed success there. So that's one thing. But for coin to coin transactions, the liquidity is we're the top three exchanges in the world, so very big. So you'll have access to that.
So that's a key point there for me.
That's coming.
That's a key. So from my point of view, I was always sort of thinking, you know, why would I open a Huobi Australia account? I've already got one. I've got the big dog. You know, why bother here? Yes, okay. There's the investing and trading the Australian projects. Great, well done. We support our own, but I'm in this. Going to buy a token because it flies the Australia flag. I'm not interested in that, and most people won't be. It's nice to invest in something that you believe in, that is on your home shores, because you get to interact, meet the people, that sort of thing, and it's nice to, you know, it's nice to reach out and help, you know, your fellow neighbour and support Australian businesses. But that's a big point. So the question that I had myself was, why open a Huobi Australia account? Well, now I can open one on the basis that I can, you know, trade the tokens, because I'm sure that hopefully some of the ones that I have will be listed with Huobi Australia, but also I don't have the disassociation from the liquidity provider that is the mothership, so to speak. That is a very good point. Very, very good. So some of the developments are, of course, the Australian dollar pairs and what you're doing there. You talked about it being an Australian exchange, registered in Australia. Now, I have accounts with crypto platforms, many, and I have a number of accounts with non-crypto platforms that offer leverage trading on crypto pairs. Okay, I'm not going to name any names. From my point of view, I like holding larger amounts on those traditional market platforms because the government guarantee sits over the top of that. Do exchanges have the same sort of thing where you've got your money guaranteed to, I think it's 200,000 if you were to go bust, that savings guarantee thing the government has?
No, this is the deposit ADI guarantee over that. So that's for a bank account.
Yeah, I figured it was
by
different.
APRA.
Are they segregated accounts?
Ours? There's a very good question. Let me think about that. They are separately held wallets. So yes, they are.
Okay, that's a big one too. So my money's my money. You're not in a big pool where you can have a rogue trader go and blow it all the way. So security's there. Right. That's what segregated accounts means, guys. If all the money's pooled in one place, then somebody's got control of that. Now, if that somebody goes nuts, we are done. Segregated accounts means my money's in my account.
You have a dedicated wallet number, rather than pooled together and we account for that. That's not how we do it. You have a dedicated wallet.
Okay, so that's an additional overlay of security, which is great. Fantastic. Okay, so the Australian project thing. All right, you've gone through the process. I've seen the social media campaign. I've seen the different tokens that are available. You say that there are 5 that you've invited to come in. Are there any that are locked in? And can you tell us anything about these?
No, I can't at this point in time. It is sitting with it's sitting with head office, and they have their own process. They're overlaying. So we're very keen to get a result, like 1 or 2 coins. Let's get started because that's important.
That'll
for
help.
Us. So, yeah.
That'll definitely help. So the vision, I suppose, is to be the big dog in Australia.
Indeed,
to
it is.
take over. Do you have any? I know it's very early days, and I think I probably know the answer already. But I'm going to ask it because that's my job.
Sure.
Do you have any long-term, medium-term, or short-term objectives to move into? And this is from head office as well as here, into some more trader-friendly products. Entry price, order with entry and stop loss and the target, so I can manage my risk within one order, and possibly even some margin trading pairs. Are these things that are on the radar for Huobi Australia and the global conglomerate that is the beast?
Yeah, look, I'll speak for one thing that our head office is very keen for us to do is to gather feedback from investors. So we're regularly surveying our users. What can we do better? Because some markets like to do things differently based on perhaps how they've traded traditional markets in their own countries. So we're always giving feedback through. Be really interested in your feedback, and I'm happy to send that through. But we're constantly tweaking that, the engine and the user experience. So.
Okay, so you're open to that. Because the thing is, I see a lot of people talking about capturing what's already there. Now you and I know it's not about what's there. That's this much.
Sure.
If what's there is this much, this entire room that we're in is the traditional market investors that are already existing right now in terms of the size, 200 billion to 200 trillion. They're the comparatives, it's 1% or even less than 1%. I think.
Sure.
But my point being is that if we do have some tools that are attractive for people like me, I mean, obviously I am in this space, but I've got a lot of friends and a lot of people that I know that are like, yeah, crypto, I know it's volatile and not moves really well, man, but it's so difficult. Right. How do I manage my risk? How do I raise it's just in the too hard box. Now, people that are successful, that are doing well in traditional markets, they're like, look, I'm doing well. I don't need this. Like, I'm not trying to make $1 billion in a week.
Sure.
You know,
Yeah, sure.
they're happy where they are. We have an opportunity here to create some products that mirror what we're used to in traditional markets, to bring those people in. Bigger volumes, bigger accounts, with a higher value on education, more independence, more turnover of trades, so higher volume of not just the size of the trade, but higher volume of number of trades. It just seems like a no-brainer. It really does to me. Obviously, I'm missing something. Sure. But that's a conversation we can have another time, right?
Sure. Well, I'll finish off on that very quickly.
For it.
ASIC came out with their corporate strategy 2018 to 2022 last Friday. Right. There are multiple references in there to coming controls around exchanges, blockchain, ICOs, etc. For me, that's a great thing.
Yes, absolutely.
More regulations bring legitimacy, brings more people into the industry, who professionals in this space, and brings investors in. So. We think that's a good thing. We're looking to future-proof our business by, looking at things like an Australian Financial Services licence, an Australian Markets licence, etc., that will allow us to create products such as margin lending, such as ETFs, exchange tokens. The list goes on. Structured product, etc. And I think that's perhaps touches on what you were talking about there. You can then start to bring in some of these people who can start to, professionals who know how to manage risk, but can't do it with such basic products as they are at the moment. So that that process would take us a year to do, and I think we need to do it, and I think a lot of people should be doing it. And let's have that conversation in a year and see where we are.
It's absolutely the future. We're just on the tip of the iceberg. Yeah. Adrian, it's been an absolute pleasure having you here.
Thank you, Craig.
Before we go, I need you to tell everybody at home what they need to do to find out more about you, your socials, how to get an account. Tell them how it is, where to find it.
Sure. Well, thanks very much for the opportunity, and thanks everybody for listening. Huobi.com.au is our exchange, so huobi.com.au. You can have a look at Huobi Australia on Telegram, Twitter, Facebook, etc. So please get involved, and something we are trying to do in the Telegram group, and we are seeing it, is a lot of the projects are starting to talk to each other, and so are a lot of the users. So get on board, have a look, and please try us out.
Adrian Harrison, CEO of Huobi Australia, thank you so much for your time. I appreciate it.
Good.
We'll keep talking in the future.
Thanks, Craig.
Guys, thanks so much for your time. Have a good day. Bye for now.
The Trader Cobb Crypto Podcast is hosted by Craig Cobb. All Trader Cobb courses, products and tools can be found at tradercobb.com because experience matters.